has no boundaries. Everyone treasures their own cuisines, but for newcomers, food takes on other meanings. They diligently preserve their cuisine to give a taste of home to their new American home, instill the love of their home country to their children, and lastly, proudly represent their culture in our America the Beautiful. Spice and Recipe does all the above by introducing recipes from different countries enriched with human stories and comparison of tradition. Hi, I'm Mike Digiacomo, a born and raised American and a food lover, and I invite you to join me as we discover the origins of flavor, the journey of spices, and the recipes of the world. Welcome to Spice and Recipe. I'm Mike Digiacomo, and today for the first time we're going to take you to the continent of Africa. We're going to tell you about a spice that's native to about 19 different countries in the tropical region of Africa. It's called Calabash Nutmeg. We're going to tell you a little bit about it, then come back in the studio for the recipe. Calabash nutmeg is the seed of the Monodora Myristica, otherwise known as calabash nutmeg tree, that grows in evergreen forests. The fruit is a berry, the size and shape of an orange, hanging from a stalk up to 24 inches long. There are about 120 half-inch seeds in each fruit that are dried, cracked, and sold as spice. The taste of calabash nutmeg is like that of nutmeg, but less aromatic and spicier, adding flavor to soups, sauces, goat stews, and desserts. Health-wise, it is known to relieve headaches, lower blood pressure, or repel insects. Seeds are also used to make necklaces. Native to 19 countries in Africa, the seed made its way to the Caribbean in the 18th century during the slave trade, hence giving it a new name. In fact, Jamaican nutmeg, EHURU, efuru, ehiri, ariwo all refer to the calabash nutmeg. The spice is sold for $6 per ounce or ground for about $4 per ounce. Well, it's an interesting spice when it comes to its origin. Listen, there's a number of countries, 19 to be precise, that kind of all claim this spice, but we're going to focus on one called Togo. It's an interesting country. It's a very narrow country on the western side of Africa, only 71 miles wide. And so how did this spice become synonymous with that country? Chef Nina Sodji, thanks for coming in. Good to see you. You're from Togo.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it. Thanks for being here. You're a native of Togo.
Yes.
How long have you been? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
First, to be in Togo's defense, it was a little bit bigger before World War I.
It was a bigger country.
It was a bigger country. It's after World War I when they won over the German, because the German was the colony that was in Togo at that time.
Yeah.
So French and English decided from both sides, if they can squeeze the Germans out, then they'll split the country in three.
I see.
So one piece went to Ghana, one piece went to Benin, and the rest that was left went to France.
Yeah.
It was bigger than
It was
the little tiny thing that it,
right,
yeah,
because it is
yes.
narrow up and down. It got
Yes,
shrunk in during the
yeah,
war.
and until now there's still a fight, because like overnight some people kind of end up seeing their villages in Benin overnight,
right.
and they still claim
Still
it,
crazy,
and,
yeah.
it's still a tug of war basically. Yeah.
How did you get here? Why did you leave Togo?
By plane? I'm just kidding.
Oh, here we go. She's also not only a chef, she's a comedian as well.
Yeah. Sometimes, like people tell me that quite a bit. Because that question is, I always kind of get it, like, how do you get here?
Yeah, how?
I know, like.
Why?
I kind of understood it, but
Yeah,
I just like to be.
I know you did. She's at the Funny Bone on Friday night, too, in case you didn't know.
You can come and see me there. So I came in 1994. From 89, 90, 91, 92, there was a big civil war that was in Togo because we wanted the old regime to kind of move out and new people to come in, basically. So it became literally a war zone after a while. So I went to the country, Benin, which is a country next to me, in 92. And my grandmother died in 93, so I came back into Togo. So, but there was like a dead vibe around. I mean, there's nothing going on. There's no school. I mean, I was like 17 or 16 at that time. So, and then I asked my mom, like, I mean, I can't just sit here and twirl my thumb for the rest of my life.
Right.
But my sister and her husband was already in the U.S. He came in 90, and she came in 91.
Sure.
And my brothers followed in 92. So the only people that I knew was here. And the first wasn't in Omaha, Nebraska. They were in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
But my sister, first son was born in Togo, and he had jaundice when he was little,
Yeah.
and they didn't quite catch it. So by the time he came here 6 months later, we noticed that he was not developing as good as any other child. So a friend of theirs told them to come to Omaha, that there's more hospital and places that they can really help them.
Yeah.
And they came here in 92. So they were here when I was coming to the U.S. So naturally, I just came here.
That's how you got here.
And
You
that's
followed
how
them here, yeah.
That's why I got here.
And I didn't mention
Yeah.
Okra African Grill is a restaurant that you have here on 72nd Street in Omaha.
Yes, it is. It's a new restaurant.
Congratulations. It's been a tough year. I know
Yes,
you
it have
open,
been.
then you shut down for a while, then you
Yes.
carry out. It's been tough.
Yes, it have been. It have been.
Okay, let's talk about this because
Yes.
right here is this. It's the Calabash Nutmeg is what
Yes.
we're talking about today.
Uh-huh.
So if you want to get a shot at it, but it does have an aroma when you break into it.
It does,
You
yeah.
break into this a little bit.
Yeah.
And then do
You
you?
want to smash it?
smash
Usually, I mean, like it's not really nicely
should
breakable
put a
with
few
your
in here.
finger,
Yeah.
And you just kind of like, you can pound on it. You can use your kitchen hammer too to
Sure,
do it.
right.
What I do is I put it like in a paper towel
Yeah.
and just kind of break it.
Yeah.
And like from here, you can really smell it. Can you smell it?
Yeah, the fragrance. is
Yeah,
really
the finger,
strong.
it really releases the fat, and it really, just really,
We really beat the heck out of that, didn't we?
yeah. Well,
There it is. So it's
sometimes
ground up
I
a
beat
little
it a
bit,
little
yeah.
bit more, but
Yeah.
it usually just dissolve in the sausage.
The
yeah.
fragrance is really strong now.
Yes, it is, yes.
It's really coming out. Okay, what are we making today?
We'll be making peanut butter sauce, which is one of the #1 meals at Okra.
Yeah.
And the peanut sauce that we make, I make it from already peanut butter. I
Real
make-
peanut butter.
Yeah, because back home, then you have to roast the peanut, and
Yeah.
I mean, like coming to America, you have to really be creative on the way that you cook, because not everything is the way it is back
Yeah.
home, basically. So you have to find a way to kind of mix things, and it still come out the way that it
Yeah.
tastes back home,
It
basically.
makes sense. And you're making a peanut butter chicken with this,
Yeah.
but it's not what people would think of when they think of like a Chinese peanut butter chicken.
No, it's not.
different.
Yeah, it's different. It's totally different. And even if you go to like Cameroon, for example,
Yeah.
which is one of the biggest producer of peanut, like I think they are the second or the third in the world of peanut.
Yeah.
What they call the peanut sauce is totally different than Togo peanut sauce.
Yeah.
So everybody have their own version, I'll call
Yeah,
it.
for sure. How do we get started? How do you want to get started on this? What do we do?
So basically, we kind of just turn the
Hey,
stove
this
up.
thing is tricky here. Let me grab this
Oh,
for
okay.
you to turn this on. You
All
pop
right.
this guy down.
Oh,
Bingo, bango. It should be started. Okay, so we're going there.
maybe that's the reason why I don't have that in my kitchen.
That's why nobody has one. That's why nobody has one of those. Only on TV sets would you have one of those.
Okay, all right. So you just kind of let the
Get the pan
pan
hot.
really kind of get
Okay.
hot, yeah, and then you get your peanut butter.
I've got that on medium. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Medium?
that's totally
perfect.
fine because you really don't want to burn it.
Yeah.
You just want to roast it.
Okay.
You want to release the little, you kind of want to melt it basically. So you just kind of.
And any kind of peanut. Listen, this is like Jif, right? This is like.
Yeah.
This is not a special peanut butter.
It's not a
Whatever
special
you-
peanut
whatever you
butter,
have.
but I love just because it gives me the enough sweetness that I want.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't use like a star brand, or I don't use.
Are you a
know-
mother?
Yeah.
Choosy moms choose Jif.
Oh yeah.
They do.
Oh,
Choosy
okay.
moms choose Jif.
I
That's
never-
why you chose it.
I never really heard that, but I like
Oh
that.
yeah, it's just you can tell people I made that up.
Okay, I'll tell them you did.
Yeah, so you let it melt.
Yeah, so you just basically let it melt to a point that it kind of like start roasting, and you have to kind of move it around because it burns really fast.
Okay.
So leaving the
If you let it sit on there, it will.
Yeah.
Once it burns, it messes up the flavor.
it messes up the
Yeah.
flavor because it started having like a little bit of a bitter taste to
Yeah.
it. So you don't want that, and that's why you keep the temperature low at the same time. But
Yeah.
you keep stirring it until it just like totally dissolve and start roasting. And when you start roasting, then you can you smell it?
Yeah, you
Do
can, yeah.
Yeah, so it gives
Yeah.
it like you want that roasty smell to it.
Yeah. While you're doing that, why did you name your restaurant Okra?
I get that question quite a bit. I should have brought my son.
Is that
So he
is
actually-
okra, is that a popular ingredient in Togo or no?
Yes, okra is
okay.
actually a very popular ingredient on the west coast of Africa.
Okay.
Anybody on the west coast know what okra
Yeah,
is?
sure.
I mean, it's one of the biggest. It's actually not a vegetable, but a fruit.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the biggest ones out there. But the reason why I named it okra, I wanted to name it Nina's Kitchen.
Yeah.
But my son thought it was corny. You know, he's a teenager, so what can I say? And when I was putting together the idea of opening another restaurant, which I had another restaurant before.
Yeah.
And then we cut, sorry, I didn't want to
You're
interrupt
good.
you, but.
Yeah, just put a little water in there?
Yes,
Okay.
so it came to the level that we
You
need
can
to add
see the
water.
consistency. If we can get a shot of that, you
Yeah.
can see the consistency in there.
So you see that they kind of like have like the little bit of a rusty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you
So
don't.
that's perfect. That's when you wanna add water right
That's
now?
when you want to add water.
Okay.
Yes. So it kind of have that little sizzle.
Yeah.
You just keep on stirring.
It smells great. I've never
Yeah.
had peanut
No-
butter on the grill like that,
Yeah.
in the frying pan.
I don't think you'll ever thought of doing this unless
No,
you have the
right.
background that I have. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
In the United States, we eat dinner a little bit earlier. What are the eating schedules in Togo or in Western Africa?
The eating schedule is a little bit different. We actually bingo on breakfast and lunch because there is a lot of people that go to work in the morning. So they have to, we actually eat heavy in
Yeah.
the morning and then at lunch I eat lighter because we are on French schedule, I'll say.
Yeah,
So
right.
they do have like a 4 o'clock snack. Because the schooling is kind of you have a break between the schools. So like when the kids go to school from 7 to 12,
Yeah.
you have a break between 12 and 2. And then they go back to school at 3 and they come around 5.
Yeah.
So when you come at home at 12, then you eat lunch. And then when you come at home at 4 and 5, you have a little bit of a snack before you have dinner.
Oh, then dinner's a little bit later.
And the dinner is a little bit later. So you eat dinner around 7, that's when your parents come
Yeah,
home.
right.
And at that time, you're already halfway full, so you don't
Yeah.
really have a
Right, right. It's not a huge dinner. It's
It's,
a lighter
already-
dinner.
it's just a lighter dinner, yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's
so-
kind of like how, I mean, we don't, at our house, we eat, we try to eat around 6 o'clock. when,
Yeah.
Everybody's home from work and school. 7 o'clock, it's starting, by the time you get cleaned up and everything, it's time to
Yes.
go to bed. So we
So-
try to eat a little earlier.
Yes, yes. So this is a house sauce. So
Okay.
it's a tomato-based sauce. It's just like
Did you make this? The
Yeah,
hot
I
sauce?
make
Okay.
this, yes.
What's in there?
Tomato, a little bit of vegetable to saute, a lot of
Yeah.
thyme, rosemary, oregano.
So it's tomato based with
It's
some
a-
spices.
Yeah, with the spices. It's a little bit spicy. It's not sweet.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like your pasta sauce, but without the sugar.
yeah,
The
okay.
peanut, the peanut kind of give you the little sugar that you need, basically.
Yeah, and then it blends right in there. With
It just
the
kinda
peanut
blends-
Butter. Yeah, because
yeah.
the peanut butter is sweeter.
Yes, so it kind of gives it like a nice, good combination. That's why I like the Jeff,
Yeah.
because you have the.
I'm thinking about Togo. It's,
Yes.
You
Oh,
know,
I didn't finish telling you about okra earlier.
Okay, well, let's finish that.
Oh yes, so okra, it came from my son, and I wanted to call it something else. So he was in the kitchen, and he thought it was corny. So he's like, "Oh, Mama, why don't you call it something else?" And he roaming around the kitchen, and he's like, "Well, there's a breadcrumb that we use to kind of thicken sauces and that kind of thing." And he's like, "Oh, what is called gari is made out of yuca."
Yeah.
He's like, "Why don't you call it gari?" And he's like, "Gari might be not a good idea." And I'm
Nobody
like,
knows what Gary is. here.
yeah. Well, it's a breadcrumb, basically. It's
Yeah, right.
It's the African version of
Yeah.
breadcrumb. So, and I'm like, nah, that's not it. So he knows me, like when I start kind of dismissing what he's saying, he know I'm not gonna go for it. So he's kind of still going around, and he opened the freezer, and he's like, "Oh, Mom, I think it's okra."
Yeah.
And you remember that sauce that you used to make when I had my old restaurant? I used to make this sauce, which I'll make next week. Okra is ground up, and you add, like, you can do smoked turkey, or you can do beef or goat meat.
Yeah, sure.
And you add like shrimp and crab, and it's like gumbo, American version, but on steroids.
Well, yeah, okra is a popular southern vegetable. 'Cause
Yes,
when I
yeah.
make some southern cuisine, gumbo or whatever I make, we put okra in it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's basically okra without the tomato sauce.
Yeah, okay.
So at this level, then
So
that's when.
that's getting close, right?
Yes, and then that's all you just use. Can I have a spoon there, please?
Spoon, yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. So you just do a little bit. I mean, you don't need a whole lot. It's really.
And you usually grind it up a little bit more. I didn't
Yeah.
really do a very good job of that.
Yeah,
so-
but it's okay. It dissolves in the sauce,
Sure,
so
okay.
it's not like it's a big deal. So you just add a little
Not
bit.
a lot, but that's
not a
what
lot.
gives it the flavor.
Yeah, just to give it the fragrance, and you kind of slow this baby down before you have all the splashes all over.
When you look at this, it's a very simple recipe. I don't know exactly all of what you put into the
Yeah,
tomato
the sauce, yeah.
sauce.
Yeah,
But
but
it's
as long
very
as you can
simple,
make
yeah.
the stale tomato sauce, yeah.
Yeah.
And if, I mean, I don't want to kind of like not give myself business, but you can.
It's so easy to make, right?
You can literally
And that's
make.
what chefs never want to say
You-
that.
Well, what I meant by that is like you can use marinara sauce.
Yeah.
I mean, like I want to kind of get to a point that I can market my product,
Yeah, right.
which is the house sauce, the peanut sauce, and all of that. But if you really want to try this at home, like right now,
Yeah.
You can just use marinara
Yeah.
from the shelf.
Right.
And
But if you want the real thing,
Well,
I mean,
you-
if you want
yes,
the
but
real,
if you want the real
Chef
experience-
Nina stuff, you go to the restaurant.
Exactly, exactly.
When I think about some of the influences of Togo,
Yeah.
it's such a narrow country. There has to be other countries around there that have influenced the cuisine of that area. In there?
Yes, well, not just that. Well, Togo itself, we have like 37 other ethnicity
Yeah.
within Togo alone. I mean,
Yeah.
even though it's been that small. So Togo itself, or the food in Togo, is a fusion, I call it.
Right.
It's a fusion of not just the local surrounding places,
Yeah.
but through slavery and through colonization, we pick up a lot of things from other places, like Europe. So I was saying earlier about Germany. I used to eat sauerkraut, and I thought it was Togolese until I came to the U.S. and I'm like, I don't think so. I think it's German. You know, so
Right.
it's kind of like one of those things. And the house sauce, for example, is Spain. Is from Spain.
Okay.
So when I in culinary school, I'm like, they call it the mother sauce
Yeah.
in one of the sauces.
Yeah.
And it's just our house sauce.
Yeah.
So that's why I say you can cheat with marinara because they are in the same version. It just tweaked to them.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's interesting because when you come over, the American palate is a little bit. Did you find it was a little bit different than?
yes,
You know what I mean?
It's all different. It's
Yeah.
because of the fusion that America
Yeah.
has too.
So
I
there's so
mean,
many
like,
different people. When people come into your restaurant,
Yeah.
and they maybe haven't had African food or
Yeah.
haven't had the peanut butter chicken that you make, are they? What is the reaction you get?
So it's kind of refreshing, the reaction that comes, because first, a lot of people have that stereotype, that I'll say. You know, Africa, is not, because everything is shown here is more the little kid with the snotty nose and all that.
Yeah.
So the expectation is not too high.
Yeah, right.
And some days I really like that.
Well,
because
that was nice, right? If
Yeah,
they're not
because
expecting anything and they get something fantastic.
it just kind of blow them out of the water. And,
Yeah.
you know, they come and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know it's going to be this clean. Or I didn't know it, you know, it's like,
Right.
I mean, we can do it too, you
Right,
know? Yeah,
exactly.
and a lot of people don't know what African food is as a whole.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be able to showcase in the small amount that I can that, okay, African food is similar than what you're already eating, but maybe you just cook a different way.
Yeah.
Like you were saying earlier, you didn't know you could cook peanut butter
didn't know,
on the
yeah.
stove.
But what's
But now
beautiful-
that you know, it's kind of like,
But what's
Yeah, I have
beautiful about
moments,
this is
yeah.
you're preserving traditions from your
Yes,
home
yes,
country. And
yes.
you're bringing them here.
I'm bringing
Are your
it here.
kids? Are you cooking African? Are you cooking Togoan
I
at home?
I do, yeah, I
Yeah.
do. As a single mother, I do. That's what they've been eating all their life.
Yeah.
So, like, my son is 22 now, so it's kind of like when he eats this, someday he's like, "Oh, mom, it's not totally authentic, but I still kept the flavor and some of the authenticity."
Yeah.
But other than that, that's how I cook at home.
Yeah.
That's just me sharing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the reason why I break it down the way I did is to be able to serve a lot of palate. Because like originally when we make the peanut sauce like this, we'll fry the chicken and we add it into the sauce.
And then there, so it cooks it in a little bit.
Yeah, cooking it a little bit. But right now I'm serving vegan, I'm serving vegetarian, I'm serving gluten-free people.
Right.
So if I put it in the sauce, so I can't serve this sauce to them. So
Right.
I have to be creative on keeping the chicken
Right.
separate
Yeah.
and keeping everything separate so everybody can have control on what they really want to
Yeah.
eat. So if they want to come and just eat the rice and the veggie and plantains and the sauce,
Yeah.
They can.
How are we coming on the peanut butter sauce?
It's done.
It's done?
It had been
Okay, what do
done.
we do with it? Do we put it in a bowl?
And then we put it in the bowl, and then we have a little sample here.
Yeah, so Chef, this is the finished product right
Yes,
here, right?
this is
Let's break this down real quick. I'm
Yes.
going to spin this around so people can see the sauce
Okay.
as well.
All right.
Okay, we got it right there. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what do we got?
So we have some mixed veggies, South African veggies, and then we have some pico on top,
Okay.
white rice, chicken, and plantain on the side.
Okay, and the plantain.
Yeah.
Hold on, stop.
Okay,
Time out.
okay, all right,
The
all right.
plantain, how do you
Yes.
do the plantain? Because the plantain is bananas.
Yeah, I call them
It's like
wild bananas.
Yeah, wild bananas, yeah.
But you have to cook them.
You gotta, well, for sure, that's,
Yeah, if you can eat them raw, but they
They're
don't,
smaller, are they smaller?
They're actually longer than bananas.
They're longer than regular
Yeah,
bananas,
they
okay.
are like the grandpa of bananas.
Okay.
Yeah, but they are sweet. The riper they are, the sweeter they get.
Yeah.
They have that caramelized taste to them, and it's really not. You don't really have to do a whole lot with them.
No, you
just
don't.
you just cut the sleeves open,
Yeah.
cut the plantain in half, a sprinkle of salt if you like, and just deep fry them. That's all
Fantastic.
that is. Yeah.
The peanut butter chicken
chicken.
is right here, right?
Yeah.
Is this the peanut butter chicken?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you have to
gotta
add
put
the sauce
on
to it.
first,
Yeah.
right?
So you
And
can
add
just
some
drizzle the sauce all over if you like.
Okay, and is this how
Yeah.
you typically do it?
Just like
so
that.
people can put as much or as little sauce on as they want.
You
Right?
are already an expert.
Are we on the same wavelength there?
Yes, yes. Some people like a lot of sauce. I like my son loves a lot of sauce.
Yeah.
So he'll like do twice the container of the sauce. But some people just want a little drizzle. So you
I'm
have
looking
that
at this
option.
plate. This is fairly healthy.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
the
the
reason.
chicken, it's
It's grilled chicken
it's a
instead
grilled
of the
chicken.
fried one we usually have.
Rice, vegetables.
Yes.
Plantain.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's
Good.
fairly easy for you.
Before we wrap this up, I want
Yes.
to ask you one more question.
Sure.
When you think of like European cuisine, you think
Yes.
French, you think
Yes.
Italian, right?
Yes.
You think Spanish.
Spanish, yeah.
What do people when you talk about African cuisine?
Yes.
What countries are people relating that to?
When you're talking about African cuisine, they're relating it to I think mostly the one that they really know is more like Nigerian.
Yeah.
Because right now, like in January, fufu was like a big thing.
Yeah.
Because they only saw it on TikTok and yeah, and it's like, okay, we have to come and get fufu, but
Right.
it's not just fufu that's like the whole continent. I mean, it's a whole continent. It's not. It's kind of like the way I describe it to people. It's kind of like saying the way it's barbecue. It's barbecue.
Yes.
The story about barbecue.
People can relate to that, yeah. People
Yeah,
can
but
relate.
yes, barbecue. Kansas City barbecue and Texas barbecue is two different things. Same thing with African food. Right now, I'm showcasing the west coast of Africa, where I'm from, but I want to be able to pinpoint other places.
Yeah.
Yes.
'Cause I know there's a strong Ethiopian cuisine. as
Yes.
well, but that's on the east side. Of
But
it.
on the east side, so
Yeah.
that's totally different. So when people come, they kind of say, "Oh, is it Ethiopian food?" No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's Western Africa, and I pin different places. So this you can find in Togo, in Benin, in Ghana. The jollof rice, for example, you can find in Nigeria,
Yeah.
Ivory Coast. So it's on the whole West Coast. But I want to eventually invite chefs,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
love
or grandmas or whoever out there that know different other places,
Yes.
so they can show me how
African
to cook.
food in the United States hasn't taken off as much as it's going to. And I
No.
think you're leading that charge, Chef.
I'm trying. I'm really
Listen,
trying.
this was fantastic.
Yes.
And the Calabash Nutmeg
Yes.
it's a very fascinating spice. I'm
Yes,
glad we
it
use
is.
this.
Yeah.
And listen, if you want to learn more about this is our spice and recipe for the week. If you want to learn more, you can just go to newamericansmedia.com. If you want to be a guest on the show as well, you can just email us at the address shown right here. And it doesn't matter where you are in the United States or where you are in the world for that matter. You can get a hold of us anywhere. If you can speak a little bit of English and work with me on this, you'd have no problem. So, Chef Nina, thank you for your time,
Yes.
right?
Elbow bump.
Yes, elbow
You know,
bump.
people think that was the new bump for Corona,
Yeah.
but it should be a chef bump.
It's a chef bump. Well, yeah, because
Yes.
your hands are always in stuff. You chefs do that
Yeah,
stuff
so
all the
now
time.
you
Thank
guys are stealing things from us.
Thanks, Chef. Appreciate it.
You're
And thank
welcome.
you all for watching. I'm
Yes.
Mike Digiacomo.
Yeah.
That's Spice and Recipe for this week. Go out there and have a great day. OMA and USA.
Thank you.